Curtis, thanks. Tomorrow marks the 30th anniversary of the Helena 1989 train derailment and explosion. In the moments after the blast, information was hard to come by at first. Emergency responders didn't know exactly what they were in for, but they jumped into action. When it was all said and done, those we spoke to say there were things that changed after that day for the better. Former Disaster and Emergency Services Coordinator Paul Spengler says practicing for potential large-scale disaster has always been part of their preparedness plan.
I have to expect the unexpected that may happen, and that's why it's so important for communities to have disaster and emergency operations plans, have tabletop exercises where the major parties get together, the first responders, and talk about how they respond.
Current Lewis and Clark County Sheriff Leo Dutton was an EMT that day 3 decades ago when it was no longer a matter of what if.
So it was an example of the worst case scenario and how you have to work. And it's not of, well, let's think about this. It was real for us that were there. That did happen.
The teamwork that sprung from necessity that day in 1989 led to solutions to problems that could no longer be considered a long shot.
The radio systems have been upgraded. Those things were an impetus of a better radio communication system. And when we upgraded this radio system, we thought about that day, that hour, and that moment when people couldn't talk and what could work and what did work.
We became a lot more active in working with the volunteer fire departments. A lot more mutual aid, I think, came out of that incident, and how much we needed to have coordination and working much closer with the other departments.
We saw people with passion all of a sudden checking the generators. We saw people with passion all of a sudden making sure that their backup plans were there. So it did change us.